Hello, everybody, and this is Narendra Kumar, and we are going to have another story by Guide MAUPASSANT called The Wrong House. And this is part of our series called Master Classic Stories with Vocabulary Study. In the next video, we'll have a study of the vocabulary. We'll get in this video. In this video, we'll simply narrate the story and enjoy it. So, The Wrong House. Quartermaster Varajov had obtained a week's leave to go and visit his sister, Madame Padoy. Varajov, who was in garrison at Rennes and was leading a pretty gay life, gay means happy, finding himself high and dry. Finding himself high and dry, which means like he's not getting much of enjoyment, wrote to his sister saying that he would devote a week to her. Devote means give to her. It was not that he cared particularly for Madame Padoy, a little moralist, a devotee and always cross. Moralist. Cross means always angry, but he needed money. So he was dry of money. He needed money, needed it very badly. And he remembered that of all his relations, the Padoys were the only ones whom he had never approached on the subject. Like he had never asked them the money. Pere Varajov, formerly a horticulturist at Angers, but now retired from business, had closed his purse strings to escape Gray's son and had hardly seen him for 2 years. His daughter had married Padoy, a former treasury clerk who had just been appointed tax collector at Vance. Varajov, on leaving the train, had someone direct him to the house of his brother-in-law, whom he found in his office, arguing with the Breton peasants of the neighborhood. Padoy rose from his seat, held out his hand across the table, littered with papers. Littered with papers, that it was lying all around. Littered means it was lying all around without any order. He murmured, "Take a chair, I will be at liberty in a moment." And he sat down again and resumed his discussion. Resumed means what had been stopped, he continued. He resumed, he continued again. The peasants did not understand his explanations. The collector did not understand their line of argument. He spoke French, they spoke Breton, and the clerk who acted as interpreter appeared not to understand either. So there was a complete miscommunication, no communication. It lasted a very long time, a very long time. Varajov looked at his brother-in-law and thought, what a fool. Padoy must have been almost 50. He was tall, thin, bony, slow, hairy, with heavy arched eyebrows. Arched, like that curve. He wore a velvet skull cap with a gold cord, Van Dyke design round it. His look was gentle, like his actions, his speech, his gestures, his movements of his hands, his thoughts, all were soft. Varajov said to himself, what a fool. He himself was one of those noisy roisterers for whom the greatest pleasures in life are the cafe and abandoned women. He understood nothing outside of these conditions of existence. So he was that kind of a guy. A boisterous braggart, filled with contempt for the rest of the world. Boisterous. Boisterous means always full of energy, like a naughty boy. And braggart is someone who keeps on talking about how great he is. Filled with contempt. Contempt is a very low opinion of people for the rest of the world. He despised. So despised is something like contempt, very low opinion. He hated, despised, had a very low opinion. He despised the entire universe from the height of his ignorance. From the height of his ignorance. So he really didn't, he was not of a very good character. He didn't know anything, but he despised and had a contempt for everybody. When he said, Nom d'un chien, what a spree, he expressed the highest degree of admiration of which his mind was capable. Having finally got rid of his peasants, Padoy inquired, how are you? Pretty well, as you see, and how are you? Quite well, thank you. It is very kind of you to have thought of coming to see us. Oh, I've been thinking of it for some time, but in the military profession, one has not much freedom. Oh, I know, all the same, it is very kind of you. And Josephine, is she well? Oh, yes, thank you. You will see her presently. Presently means shortly here. Where is she? She's making some calls. We have great many friends here. It is a very nice town. I thought so. The door opened and Madame Pedoy appeared. She went over to her brother without any eagerness, real interest, held her cheek for him to kiss and asked, "Have you been here long?" "No, hardly half an hour." "Oh, I thought the train would be late. Will you come into the parlor?" They went into the adjoining. Adjoining means a room beside this room, attached to this room. Adjoining room, leaving Pedoy to his accounts and his taxpayers. As soon as they were alone, she said, "I have heard nice things about you." "What have you heard?" "It seems that you are behaving like a blackguard, getting drunk and contracting debts." So she's being sarcastic. "It seems that you are behaving like a blackguard, like a bad guy, getting drunk and contracting debts," which means you're getting debts. Having debts. Debts means you owe somebody. You took a loan and you have not cleared. That is a debt. He appeared very much astonished, surprised. Astonished means surprised. "I never in the world." "Oh, do not deny it. I know it." He attempted to defend himself. Tell her that he was good and all, but she gave him such a lecture that he could say nothing more. She then resumed. I told you, resumed is already, we have done that word. Resumed means something which was stopped. Again, it's continuing. "We dine at 6 o'clock and you can amuse yourself until then. I cannot entertain you as I have so many things to do." So she was a strong woman. When he was alone, he hesitated as to whether he should sleep or take a walk. He looked first at the door leading to his room and then at the hall door and decided to go out. He sauntered, 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 walked slowly, sauntered like a slow walk, slowly through the quiet Breton town, so sleepy, so calm, so dead, on the shores of its island bay that is called Les Bourbihan. He looked at the little grey houses, the occasional pedestrians, the empty stores, and he murmured, "Vance is certainly not gay, not lively, not happy. Gay means happy, not lively. It was a sad idea, my coming here." He reached the harbour, the desolate harbour. Nobody is there. Desolate means nobody is there. It's like lonely, alone, lonely. Walked back along a lonely, deserted boulevard and got home before 5 o'clock. Then he threw himself on his bed to sleep till dinner time. The maid woke him, knocking at the door. "Dinner is ready, sir." He went downstairs. In the damp dining room with the paper peeling from the walls, near the floor, he saw a soup tureen on a round table without any tablecloth, on which were also 3 melancholy soup plates. Melancholy means very sad. And M and Madame Pedoy entered the room at the same time as Verajou. They all sat down to table, and the husband and wife crossed themselves over the pit of their stomachs, after which Pedoy helped the soup, a meat soup. It was the day for pot roast. After the soup, they had the beef, which was done to rags, melted greasy like pap. The officer ate slowly with disgust. He didn't like it. Weariness and rage. Weariness means tired and rage means anger. Madame Pedoy said to her husband, "Are you going to the judge's house this evening?" "Yes, dear." "Do not stay late. You always get so tired when you go out. You are not made for society with your poor health." She then talked about society in Vans, of the excellent social circle in which the Pedoys moved thanks to the religious sentiments. A puree of potatoes and a dish of pork were next served in honor of the guest. Then some cheese, and that was all. No coffee. When Verajou saw that he would have to spend the evening tit-a-tit means talk, with his sister, endure her reproaches. Endure means bear. Endure means bear. Reproaches means negative, critical remarks towards oneself. Reproaches. Listen to her sermons. Sermons means preaching. Giving advice, like you do this and you do that, without even a glass of liquor to help him to swallow these remonstrances. To swallow these, So she'll be shouting at her, she'll be telling all the negative things, and he has to. Those are called remonstrances, another word. He felt that he could not stand the torture. He could not stand the torture. Could not stand means can't bear the torture, and declared that he was obliged to go to the police station to have something attended to regarding his leave of absence. And he made his escape at 7 o'clock. So he escaped from there. He had scarcely reached the street before he gave himself a shake like a dog coming out of the water. Like a dog, when the dog comes out of the water, it gives him a full shake. He muttered, Heavens, 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 what a galley slave's life! And he set out to look for a cafe, the best in the town. He found it on a public square, a big public place behind two gas lamps. He went to the cafe. Inside the cafe, 5 or 6 men, semi-gentlemen and not noisy, were drinking and chatting quietly, leaning means putting their elbows on the small tables, while two billiard players walked round the green baize where the balls were hitting each other as they rolled. One heard them counting, 18, 19, no luck, oh, that's a good stroke, well played. 11, you should have played on the red. 20, froze. 12, ha, wasn't I right? Verajoy ordered a demi-tasse and a small decanter of brandy, the best. Then he sat down and waited for it. He was accustomed to spending his evenings off duty with his companions amid means in noise and the smoke of the pipes. This silence, this quiet exasperated him. He couldn't bear it. Exasperated him. Very angry and tired, he began to drink first the coffee, then the brandy, and asked for another decanter. He now wanted to laugh, to shout, to sing, to fight someone. He said to himself, "Gee, I'm half full, I must go and have a good time." And he thought he would go and look for some girls to amuse him. He called the waiter. "Hey waiter." "Yes sir." "Tell me, where does one amuse oneself here?" The man looked stupid and replied, "I do not know sir, here I suppose." "How do you mean here? What do you call amusing oneself?" "Yourself." "I do not know sir, drinking good beer or good wine." "Ah, go away, dummy. How about the girls?" "The girls, yes, the girls. Where can one find any here?" "Girls? Why, yes, girls." The boy approached and lowering his voice said, "You want to know where they live? You want to know where they live? Why, yes, the devil. You take the second street to the left and then the first to the right. It is number 15. "Thank you, old man. There is something for you." "Thank you, sir." And Verajoy went out of the cafe repeating, "Second to the left, first to the right, number 15. But at the end of a few seconds he thought, "Second to the left, yes. But on leaving the cafe, must I walk to the right or to the left? Bah, it cannot be helped. We shall see." And he walked on, turned down the second street to the left, then the first to the right, and looked for number 15. It was a nice looking house, and one could see behind the closed blinds. Closed blinds means curtains. Blinds means curtains here. That the windows were lighted up on the first floor. The hall door was left partly open, and a lamp was burning in the vestibule. The non-commissioned officer thought to himself, "This looks all right." He went in, and as no one appeared, he called, "Hello there, hello!" A little maid appeared and looked astonished at seeing a soldier. Surprised, he said, "Good morning, my child. Are the ladies upstairs?" "Yes, sir." "In the parlor?" "Yes, sir." "May I go up?" "Yes, sir." "The door opposite the stairs?" "Yes, sir." He ascended the stairs, climbed up. Ascended means climbed up. Opened a door and saw sitting in a room well lighted up by two lamps, a chandelier. Chandelier is on the top. You have this huge, beautiful thing like lights. And two candelabras with candles in them. 4 ladies in evening dress, apparently expecting someone. 3 of them, the younger ones, remained seated with rather a formal air, like very stiff, on some crimson velvet chairs, while the 4th, who was about 45, was arranging some flowers in a vase, V-A-S-E. She was very stout, fat, and wore a green silk dress with low neck and short sleeves, allowing her red neck, covered with powder, to escape as a huge flower might from its corolla. The officer saluted them, saying, "Good day, ladies." The older woman turned around, appeared surprised but bored. "Good morning, sir." He sat down, but seeing that they did not welcome him eagerly with interest, he thought that possibly only commissioned officers were admitted to the house, and this made him uncomfortable. Uneasy is uncomfortable. But he said, "Bah, if one comes in, we can soon tell." He then remarked, "Are you all well?" The large lady, no doubt the mistress of the house, replied, "Very well, thank you." He could think of nothing else to say, and they were all silent. But at last, being ashamed of his bashfulness, his shyness, and with an awkward laugh, awkward means not very fine, not very fine, awkward laugh, he said, "Do not people have any amusement in this country? I will pay for a bottle of wine." He had not finished his sentence when the door opened, and in walked Pedoy dressed in a black suit. Pedoy, his brother-in-law. Verajoy gave a shout of joy, and rising from his seat, he rushed at his brother-in-law, put his arms around him, and waltzed him round the room shouting. Waltzed means danced with him. Round the room shouting, "Here is Pedoy, Pedoy, here is Pedoy." Then letting go of the tax collector, he exclaimed as he looked him in the face, "Oh, oh, oh, you scamp, you scamp, you're out for a good time too. Oh, you scamp. And my sister, are you tired of her, say?" As he thought of all that he might gain through this unexpected situation, the forced loan, he could ask for a forced loan, the inevitable blackmail, he flung himself on the lounge and he laughed so heartily that the piece of furniture creaked all over. So he wanted to blackmail his brother-in-law. Creaked all over, made all the noise, creaked his noise. The three young ladies rising simultaneously made their escape, while the older woman retreated to the door looking as though she were about to faint. And then two gentlemen appeared in evening dress and wearing the ribbon of an order. Pedoy rushed up to them. "Oh, Judge, he's crazy, he's crazy. He was sent to us as a convalescent. You can see that he's crazy." Verajoy was sitting up now, and not being able to understand it all, he guessed that he had committed some monstrous folly, some mistake. Then he rose and turning to his brother-in-law said, "What house is this?" But Pedoy, becoming suddenly furious and angry, stammered out, "What house? What? What house is this? Wretch, scoundrel, villain! What house indeed? The house of the judge of the Supreme Court and of the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court! Oh, rascal, rascal, rascal!" And that completes the story. So that is a very funny story. So this man who was looking for great fun, that's how he learned about it. It's a very funny. I don't have to explain to you the fun and the satire and the whole feeling of two different kinds of people, the different kinds of approaches of people, and how a story says much more than the story. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this lovely story by the great writer Guy de Maupassant, a French writer. Thank you.